Welcome back to the Fanspeak Network, and we are here to overreact. And trust me, guys, I am ready to overreact today to everything we saw in Week 9, discuss the trade deadline, and then, of course, look ahead to Week 10 for our best bets.
Spread can't find the intro video.
All right, Tyler, I found the intro video. We are ready to go. I also found that the Fanspeak Degen Substack is now live. You get NFL in-season content, bets, DFS, Battle Royale, and more. The link is in the show description. Tyler, I'll let you start, and then I'm going to get right into it.
No, I mean, it was a fun week. That was the scripted, steal or win spread. They lose to the bad teams, beat the good teams. It's just what happens. The moment they start to talk bad about them, they get a big win. The defense looks like the steel curtain again. With Jonathan Taylor had like 40 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's as expected, but I don't take anything from it.
I mean, it's pretty much still the same outlook for those teams.
The story of my life is the fact that they will get pressure on that offensive line, and now they'll play the Chargers without Joe Alt now, and they won't be able to get to Herbert.
Oh, they will. Because that's one of my best bets this weekend. But Tyler, we don't have Jamie here. But my first overreaction, it's not a statement. It's a question for you. How does it feel to know that the Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers are so awesome? The Green Bay Packers fans hold your team to a higher standard than his own.
Yeah, I mean, that is crazy.
I mean, they've lost to the Browns and the Panthers now. Now, to be fair, you know me. I don't think these coaches should be fired. I think he's doing a great job, and I think it was a random deal. But I just want to make the point of how ridiculous that was. You two calling for Tomlin to be fired just off one bad performance.
I mean, it's not one bad performance, Brett. I'm just tired of dealing with the same stuff over and over again. So that's why I want him gone. Him beating the Colts doesn't change my fact that I still want him gone. So that's the way I feel about that. But Green Bay, I mean, what's wrong with their offense?
Not in the business of firing first-place coaches here, Tyler.
Yeah, but, I mean, Green Bay's offense, there's something wrong there. I'm not sure what exactly is wrong, but there's something really wrong there.
Well, okay. So let's talk about this. How much do you think the loss of Tucker Kraft affects the team going forward? And having a tight end can help, and that's going to fit into one of my other handicaps. Tyler, spoiler alert, my 3 handicaps are for the 3 primetime games. And then I'm just going to let you, and I was almost thinking of calling you totals, Tyler, today. Let you lead the way with more totals winners and get us into the main slate during the week. But, man, we saw how much Bowers meant to that Raiders offense. How much do you think? I mean, Tucker Kraft was essentially the number 1 option, right? Trey McBride,
he was
Bowers, Travis Kelce. We've seen this before. Uh-oh, he's here. Hold on. We got to wait for his camera to kick in, and then, of course, he can answer the question. Jamie, how we doing today?
I think our guys got a little technical stuff going on still.
Why don't you break down Tucker Kraft, and then when he gets it up and going, we'll go. Jamie, can you hear us? I think he still can't hear us. Tyler, what do you think about Tucker Kraft?
Tucker Kraft, he's definitely, it looks like he's been their wide receiver 1. He's been the safety blanket for Jordan Love. Now you lose him for the rest of the year. I think they'll be able to use Musgrave and what's the other guy's name? Eluding me, the third tight end's name.
I don't know either.
Yeah, just that. I can't think of his name. Jamie will have it for us, but they could still use those two. They're going to need Jaden Reed back sooner rather than later, especially if Tucker Kraft's done for the rest of the year with that torn ACL. So the offense looks bad. The defense still looks pretty good, but it's going to be an interesting thing with Green Bay.
I think they're fine. I think
they're fine, but that offense just, if it's going to play like that at times, that's not going to win you games.
But here's the thing. They play down to the level of their competition, and so they'll be fine in the playoffs.
I mean, I guess so, yeah.
Unless the Panthers sneak in or something, right? Jamie, can you hear us now? Are you live?
Can you hear me?
All right, now we can. Now we can. A little bit of a delay. If you want to jump back out and jump
Okay.
back in.
All right. Let's.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll stick on the Packers real quick because we got to get Jamie going here on this, and then like I said,
We'll jump back to the Packers just because we got to talk about this one because you should be victory lapping the shit out of this one.
what?
They're the 3 seed in the NFC, and Sam Darnold looked like he could do no wrong on Sunday night spread. I mean, the first half was that was some of the best football I've seen in a while. Mind you, Washington's defense was getting obliterated in that spot, but he looked really good in that first half. So I think the Vikings made a huge mistake. But again, I have to see this in the playoffs.
And I don't know if it will. And do you remember with my argument, I never said Sam Darnold's going to lead a team to it.
Don't get me wrong. He could be
I was only arguing for regular season statistics.
Yeah, he could be a great regular season quarterback. He could be a great fantasy quarterback for us in the next couple of years. He just might be one of them guys. Once we get to the playoffs, certain guys will scream for him that this will finally be the year, and everyone will go, this is the same guy we've seen multiple times just fail in this spot. So we'll see if he finally breaks through eventually, because certain quarterbacks did have that shtick about him where they couldn't win playoff games. Hell, Peyton Manning was known as that for a while before he finally broke through. So
it wasn't playoff games, but Super Bowl, but yeah. All right, Jamie, are you live with us now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Do we have any delay? Yep, we got no delay. So Jamie, I'm going to start. We're diving right in. Plus, I got to be quick today, so we got 75 minutes total. But last week, Mike Tomlin lost to the Steelers, and to the Packers, and you wanted to fire him. Now Matt LaFleur has lost to the Carolina Panthers and the Cleveland Browns. Tell me why you don't hold the same standard for your own coach that you do for Tyler's.
Well, I mean, their records are much, much more different here in the last. One had a Aaron Rodgers, and regardless, one is like a 65% win percentage throughout his career, and still has the youngest team in the league. But it doesn't mean Matt LaFleur deserves any excuses. And I promise you that I am probably more critical of Matt LaFleur than most people are. I've said it numerous times that he is way too conservative of a head coach. This team consistently, like I told you last week when you asked me about the Packers and Panthers, I told you that the Packers play down to their level of competition. If they play a really good team, they're going to play really good. If they play a really bad team, they're going to mess with their food, and they're going to make a game end up being much closer than it is. And that's what happened. And there's actually a lot of data to support this too. Like in games where Packers are like 7-point favorites, their yards per attempt passing drops down to like 6.8 compared to like 9 point something when they're favorites or when they're underdogs, or at least in a competitive game script. Their play design becomes much, much worse. I think Jordan Love has in like 30% of his pass plays over the last like 5 or 6 games, which all these games have been very competitive, or have been competitive, but they shouldn't have been. They were like 7-point favorites, and most of them are like behind the line of scrimmage. You see a lot more wide receiver screens and things like that, which is an issue of Matt LaFleur. And I've been saying this for years. Matt LaFleur is a conservative coach. He plays not to lose in a lot of these games, which is all why the Packers are going to beat the Eagles this week, and why that's going to be part of my best bets. And I can't wait for that. But either way, Packers are just.
I can't wait for that too.
They're just a team question. Yeah, go ahead.
About the Packers. Well, we'll talk about Tucker Kraft too, but I want to tease you a little bit because I felt just a little bit of, hey, we can't be firing everyone off a bad loss. If LaFleur does the Tomlin special and loses in the first round of the playoffs, are you going to be calling for his head?
Okay. No, Mike Tomlin's been a coach for like 18 years, right? Like Matt LaFleur has been a head coach for like 7. I think there's much different, but I absolutely do think that in the next 2 or 3 years, if this Packers team cannot get to a Super Bowl within the next 2 or 3 years, he's probably going to get fired, because the Packers aren't the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they've shown that with Mike McCarthy. They are their goal is to win Super Bowls. And when Mike McCarthy had 2 bad years, he was gone. And Matt LaFleur now got Micah Parsons. They now paid Jordan Love, right? They've gotten all these other assets. The general managers for Green Bay are not going to be content with this team not making a Super Bowl in the next 2 or 3 years. And that's just the way this operation works. I'm just telling you that. So as of right now, do I think, oh, wow, they lost to the Panthers? And all of a sudden, like, let's not act like the Panthers are bad. They're 5-4, right? Like, they're not like a terrible team. That, like, they're not a terrible, terrible team. The Browns loss to me was worse than the Panthers. I just felt like there was a lot of lack of execution for the Packers. I mean, they didn't punt the ball one time. They had like a 9-play drive, a 10-play drive, 11-play drive. Savion Williams fumbled. Love didn't play his best game, but Matt LaFleur didn't coach his best. You can't go for it on 4th and 8. I'm all for being aggressive, but 4th and 8, you cannot go for it on 4th and 8. And on 3rd and 3, you can't throw a wide receiver screen and lose 5 yards either. So it's like this team just did not play well. That's the reality of it. There's no excuses to make, right? Like they didn't play good enough to win the game. They didn't win the game. Carolina did. Carolina played that game about as perfect as they could. They wanted to run the ball. They wanted to hide Bryce Young. The defense for the Packers is good, but it's definitely more overrated than I anticipated. Specifically early on in the year, they don't give up explosive plays, but it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's dink and dunk and dink and dunk, and they just consistently give up 8 to 9 play drives against almost
I
any
mean, to
team
be
they
fair, the
play.
way the
Which
NFL
is an
rules
issue.
are, I mean, almost every defense does that. I don't know if you can even avoid that with the way this game is officiated.
They need to take the ball away, though.
Let me ask you the Tucker Craft question, and then
Yeah,
we'll
that's a big one.
continue to debate the Packers because we're not done. But it sounds like we'll be opposite on our best bets. So looking forward to that. And
We're opposite on
can-
Atlanta versus New England. Just so it's
and I'll give you your credit there. I will give you your credit there. I watched that game though, and I would remake that bet. I actually didn't feel bad about that bet at all.
Yeah, it was a dicey one for me.
24-14, I felt good. And then, of course, when
Yeah.
you lay points, the back door is always open. And then if they don't make the field goal, New England would have had the impetus to maybe score a touchdown in overtime. Anyways, Tucker Craft, how much of a downgrade is that for Green Bay going forward? Like, normally I wouldn't do this with position players. I mean, honestly, on a power rating, I think he's got to be worth a point.
He's not worth a point, maybe half a point. It's definitely valuable. Tucker Kraft's the top 3 tight end in the league, and like not if you just get rid of like the receiving aspect, like he's a really good blocker. He's like leader of this team. He's a captain of the team. Like it definitely hurts. Musgrave is not going to be able to fill that void because Musgrave is a more vertical threat. He's not a big yards after catch guy. He's not a good blocker. He wasn't even the first guy to come in for Tucker Kraft. It was John Fitzpatrick. John Fitzpatrick
That
is
was
going
the
to be
name we
more
were
of
looking for.
yeah,
We were
he's
looking
gonna
for
be,
that name before you came on. We said, we don't know. Jimmy will know.
Yeah, John Fitzpatrick, he's a better blocker. And that's the reality is the reason Tucker Kraft is who he is and became a full-time player for Green Bay and honestly took Musgrave's job because he was just a better overall player in blocking and catching yards after the catch. I think Musgrave will be fine. To be honest with you, I was really hoping the Packers were going to go get Michael Mayer in the trade deadline. To be honest, that's what I was kind of hoping they would be able to get, but they didn't.
Notre Dame and Green Bay combined. How happy
he-
would you be?
I was actually really upset when they got Musgrave over him that year they were drafted because they were all drafted in the same class. But look, it's definitely going to hurt. He's the one constant. I think the thing that hurts the most is that this team is like Golden left with an injury. Jaden Reed is still out. Like it's now becoming a very thin receiving core, and that's not ideal. I do think it's going to help guys like Watson getting him back. I do think when Jaden Reed gets back, I think it'll be all right. But overall, like I'm not. Look, it hurts, but I'm not like downgrading the team. I'm like, oh wow, Packers can't.
I wouldn't either. Honestly,
the
this
Super
happens
Bowl,
in the
but-
NFL. This happens. I just wanted to tease you because last week Tomlin had a loss, and you're ready to call for his head. And I said, "This loss is worse. This loss is worse."
The difference is I wasn't just saying that because he lost to the Packers. I'm saying that because we've seen a consistent theme year after year after year with Mike Tomlin going on about a decade of being about winning 9 games and getting routed in round 1. Matt LaFleur as the 7.5-point underdogs in 2023 just ousted the Dallas Cowboys, right? And played a competitive game against the 49ers. Like, I think they're in 2 different situations as of right now. Now, in a couple years,
Just
like I
admit it.
said,
It's because he calls plays. It's because he's an offensive guy. If he was a defensive guy, you'd want him gone.
Matt LaFleur is a good play designer. A play caller is not a top 5 play caller. He consistently just calls bad plays. Like I said, a 3rd and 3 wide receiver screen. He's not trusting Jordan Love near as much. I don't I don't like the way that it's I don't like the way it's been ran. I'm honestly the thing I'm most nervous about is with these injuries. If we're going to see the hyper conservative of Love throwing the ball 24 times a game, and now you're trying to pound Josh Jacobs for 25 carries and Emmanuel Wilson for 6 or 7, right? Like I just don't think that is a sustainable way of living. And we could talk about Jordan Love all we want, but still ranks number 1 in EPA per dropback in the entire league. Definitely had a
It's
couple
still a
questionable
flawed stat,
throws.
though. That's a completely flawed stat.
It's not. It's
Yes, it
definitely
is,
not.
because if you had Josh Allen on that team, you guys would be undefeated and you win the Super Bowl with ease. So if you're saying he's the best quarterback off EPA, I'm showing you that EPA does not tell us who the best quarterback is, because otherwise Josh Allen or
Brett,
Patrick Mahomes or
they
Lamar
don't win the
Jackson would be
Super
number
Bowl
1.
with ease with Josh Allen on their team, because Patrick Mahomes is going to show up on the other side, and Josh Allen pisses down his leg whenever Patrick Mahomes is on the other side in the playoffs.
Gosh.
So
In the playoffs. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways,
And I'm not saying Jordan Love is better than Josh Allen. He has been playing better than him this year, and he has. From a passing standpoint, that was EPA per dropback. I'm not including rushing. Yes, he just has played better.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Josh Allen so far.
So if you take out Lamar Jackson's running,
at.
right? I mean, take out Lamar Jackson's running, Sam Darnold's better. But who would you rather have on your team? Like, come on.
Of course, I'm not saying that you wouldn't rather have him. All I'm saying is Jordan Love has still been playing as a top 5 quarterback this season. And everyone's going to talk about the interception rate. He only has 3 interceptions. He has a lower turnover throw-worthy rate than Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford, all these other guys as well. He definitely had a couple bad throws. There's no doubt about it. But I've always said he is much more on the spectrum of Brett Favre than he is of Aaron Rodgers. And I used to watch Brett Favre throw 3 of those balls every game. So it's like I can live with that.
It was harder to move the ball through the air, so you expected to take risks. But let's move on. Enough messing with you, the Packers, and we'll be able to debate about them in a little bit. Tyler, your thoughts on the trade deadline? I'm going to be quick because we're already farther into the show than I expected. I think the Colts gave up too much for Sauce Gardner. Rashid Shaheed to Seahawks is awesome. And what other thoughts do you have? But those are my 2 takeaways. I think they paid too much. I think they might regret that. What do you think, Tyler?
Dallas 100% made they addressed needs after watching what happened last night, getting Quinn Williams and Logan Wilson. So don't mind either of those pickups for Dallas. The Shaheed pickup for Seattle was great because it looks like Cooper Kupp's might be done. Maybe not for the rest of the year, but he's going to start this injury period.
And he doesn't bring the same thing to the field that Shaheed does. Shaheed complements JSN perfectly.
And the other thing is, too, is this might slowly become where Cooper Kupp gets phased out and your 3 are JSN, Horton, and Shaheed, because that makes it a very potent offense that could beat you any which way down the field, underneath, plus their tight end. So love the Seattle pickup. And I get why you're saying they paid too much for Sauce. But
2 first-rounders?
But spread, he's locked up for like 5 years. So that's the other reason why they probably had to pay that high of a price. And the way their roster's built, it's almost like this was like they're looking to make these last couple additions before they make this big run, I think. And that was one of them. So, I mean, he's paid. You don't have to worry about that. And he's one of the better corners in the league. So an underrated defense adding Sauce Gardner, I think, is a good piece.
Jamie, your thoughts on the Sauce Gardner trade and the trade deadline in general?
Yeah, I mean, it probably overpaid, but if they go out and they win a Super Bowl this year, no one's going to care, right? Like, it's just if you go out there and you
not.
Win, maybe not. They sure think they have a chance. They've been pretty good. I mean, more than likely it was overpaid. I generally don't like paying, giving up multiple first-round picks and stuff for a corner. Definitely not.
It's crazy.
Something I tend to like. I get it more from like edge rusher perspective for sure. But again, if they feel they are close, they're going all in. I can't hate a team for going all in. I love the Rashid Shaheed move. He's honestly been like one of my favorite players in the NFL the last couple of years. So I'm so glad that he's out of that system. I'm going to play with Sam Darnold. I think that's a perfect fit, honestly, for Seattle. Like, I think Seattle is a very sneaky team when they get in the playoffs. And I say that even though they're going to get in the playoffs, and I'm going to remember Sam Darnold as Sam Darnold, and then he's going to have that playoff game where
that's when they're going to need LaFleur calling plays. They're going to need LaFleur designing them and just running the ball constantly and not letting him beat himself. I think the key for Seattle, though, they got to finish strong. I want those playoff games at home. I know they've been great on the road this year, but it just still Just harkens back to the way that that Seattle home field advantage has been. Gosh, I had one more question for you about the trade deadline. Any other moves that stood out to you, Jamie?
No, I mean there was the Cowboys one, which I just think is kind of funny, but I get why they made the move. I
What
feel
do we
like they're
think
dead
about
anyways, personally. Like I just don't.
What do we think about the Jets trading off half their roster, but then saying Garrett Wilson's untouchable and then not trading Brees Hall?
Well,
Yeah, that
supposedly
was
for
definitely
Brees Hall, the most they were going to get was like a fourth. So it's just like,
yeah.
I mean,
I think they made some good moves though overall. But yeah, I think I probably would have got rid of Brees.
but
If
here's
you
the
could,
idea,
I get you
right?
wanted the third, but
But you would get a third as a compensatory pick. So that's why I
yeah,
don't think you can trade him for a fourth.
It wasn't a trade deadline trade, but it happened a couple days ago. Thoughts on Howie Roseman flipping Jari Alexander not even a day into his Philadelphia term for Jalen Phillips?
Huge.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, 100%. I mean, look, I as a Packers fan,
I'm not even sure
Alexander's
Jari
washed.
Alexander got off the plane in Philadelphia.
And that's why I
Yeah.
worry about Sauce too. You give up these two good first rounders, and how long before he's watched? Because Jamie, you'll have a better memory than me, but how long ago was Alexander a top corner in the league? In my mind, it was like
It,
2 years ago.
it was 2 or 3 years ago. He's played like
Yeah.
50% of the games the last like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, he's been hurt.
But I'm just saying, 2 or 3 years ago, I could have argued, and I'm sure you could have given me a million stats to back it up, that he was the best cornerback in the league. Now he's unplayable.
Yeah, he was very good.
And you're going to give up 2 first rounders for a position that deteriorates.
He's not
Corners
unplayable.
deteriorate faster than runners.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty bad. Like even when he was playing with Green Bay, he was honestly like a shell of himself. And granted, I am also looking at it in the lens of knowing what Green Bay paid him as the highest paid corner in the league and watching him play. But he's injured all the time. Like he's just if he's on the field, I don't
And
think
when
he's
he's
the
even on the
worst
field, he's
corner,
not
but
even that good. Well, he's not the worst, but I'm just saying. It just shows you how fast this position deteriorates. Even faster than running back, in my mind.
100%, which is why I do think like it was probably a bad move to get Sauce Gardner. But again, if this team makes the Super Bowl and they win, no one's gonna care. You know what I mean? That's just the reality of it.
I just don't think. Yeah.
I don't think they will either. But I can never fault a team for like just going all in.
They're trying.
But
Yeah, exactly.
can't you if it's like you paid a stupid price tag?
No, I don't.
We know
I
how
think,
valuable these first round picks are. I mean, there's a reason the NFL draft has higher ratings than the NBA finals.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
We're
it's
talking
the
about
complete key to your franchise.
We're talking about a team whose offensive line is built and under contract for the next couple of years. The running backs under contract, the wide receivers are under contract, the tight ends on a rookie deal. Name me another player on the defense other than Sauce that's got a contract that means anything right now.
I'm not worried about the contract. I'm just worried about losing those first round opportunities.
No, what I'm saying is they don't need them spread.
Exactly. The window is now for them,
Yes.
right? Like they don't. It's not like we need all these first round picks to keep building for the future. The future is now. It's what I said when Green Bay traded Micah.
Time,
it's like, it's go time. It's we want to win right now. I don't need these first round picks to develop them. Hopefully they're good 3 or 4 years. It's like, especially when more than likely these picks are going to be later. It's not like top 5,
I feel like
top
it's
10
like
picks.
I feel like it's like going all in on a pair of jacks. Like, yeah, you got a chance, but I might have waited to push it. I might have waited a little bit. 2 first round picks, like you said, if it was an edge, I would be sitting here going, Indy's got a chance, right? I mean, if they would have got Trey Hendrickson, or I don't think
they don't need an edge though. They have edge rushers.
They
you don't
needed
think
a
Trey
corner.
Hendrickson would make them better?
Yes, he would, but they needed a corner spread. That's where they were weak at, was the corner spot.
It's not.
So you
first
go,
round. You're gonna draft
you go
a
and you
first round
shut off
corner.
half the field getting Sauce Gardner.
He's not that good anymore.
He played for the fucking Jets. No one was good on the Jets.
That's true. All right.
I was going to say,
we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, he might all of a sudden look real good once again. Where he's like, "Oh wow, I'm playing on a team that wants to win a Super Bowl."
Wait, the quarterback.
Jalen Ramsey kind of did the same thing on Jacksonville, right?
Yes.
So, and then he got traded to Los Angeles, and all of a sudden he was one of the best corners again.
All of a sudden,
Sauce
Gardner's not expected to cover the wide receiver for 8 seconds because no one can get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So like he's
All
gonna
right.
look
Well,
good.
we'll see how this one turns out. I think they overpaid, but you guys are right. I mean, if they make the
I
Super
also
Bowl,
think
so
how
we'll see.
old
I
is
just
this
don't think they're going to be able to. I still think this AFC is stacked.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
yeah.
he's only 25 years old, spread. This
Yeah,
dude
he's
ain't
still young.
fucking washed.
You got 3
Like,
years left, and you're
my
giving up
ass, he's got
cost
3 years
controls
left.
of like 10 years of players that could
Spread.
potentially be as good as Sauce Gardner.
He's gonna be good for the next 5 to 6 years.
I don't think so.
Jalen Ramsey's
Name
going
a good quarterback.
into his 30s.
Jalen Ramsey's not that good anymore.
He's pretty good unless he's covering the likes of Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, which no
Who
corner
knows
in the
who
league can
covered.
do.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's go straight into best bets because I figure we'll have some more to argue about when we get there. Tyler, start with you.
All right. We'll start with a total spread because these have treated us well.
I got my book queued up. I'm just gonna bet. I'm not even gonna listen to your breakdown. Just tell me
We got
what
an
I'm betting.
over and an under. We're gonna start with the over. Give me the over in the Baltimore Minnesota game. It's inside a dome. We're not gonna have much weather. I think that the Baltimore is going to hang 24-30 on this defense, and they'll be able to move the ball either through the air or on the ground. And the Vikings offense looked pretty good against the Detroit team last week, so they'll be able to hang in there and give us points here too. So I think 47.5 is a little bit too low. This one should be, I think, 50. This one should be on the higher end.
All right, I just bet that one. Jamie, any thoughts on the Ravens and the Vikings in general?
I love it. We're back. JJ McCarthy got Tyler. Now we're back in the ball game with look good, back on the train. I like it. I could definitely give me a shot, man.
All right, Jamie, you're breaking up a little bit. We might have to have you jump in and jump back out or try to reset the connection real quick. While he does that, I'm going to give my best bet, and I'm going to go ahead and start, Tyler. You know what? I've been inspired by Jamie. You know, you and I, we usually hate on our teams. But I feel like giving my team some love.
Before you give out your pick, I gotta ask, because last week you said that was the last week you're done with all the heavy dogs. They pretty much all covered last week, spreading a couple of them.
Except for New Orleans. Yeah. But you know what? Do you know what made me happy? I actually didn't place those bets. I still couldn't do it. The old man in me just can't do the minus double digits. And then it was like, I hated to be a hater, but then I was just sitting there and I was like, when the Packers were going to lose, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so funny with Jamie. So I started rooting for Carolina, even though I didn't really have a rooting interest in that game, just to make the show better. All that
reminds me of is those like TikToks where it's like when your best friend texts you after your fantasy players laying on the ground and his knee exploded. It's just like Drake celebrating on the sideline.
All right. All right. Here's what I got for you, though. First of all, this is a division matchup, so we always like taking points in the division matchup. And I'm going at 2 different ways for this. Dang it. I was trying to pull up my numbers for it. I don't know why I keep pulling up every single game. Here they are. So Raiders have taken a little bit of early money. It was as high as 10.5 on the openers, down to 9. I think if you wait, there'll be a little buyback because I think a lot of people will log on and bet them on Thursday night. But the reason for this game, and that's why I asked you about Tucker Kraft. I mean, look at what a good elite tight end can do for Geno Smith. The offense was explosive once again. The Raiders are actually 13th in defensive DVO this season, even though they have a tough schedule, and the offense is kind of crappy, so that puts them in worse positions. I think they're going to keep this one close, and one of the reasons I think that having Bowers back in the lineup is going to help Geno a lot. So if we only look at the games in which Bowers played the full games, against the Patriots, Smith threw for 362 yards, and then in Week 9, Smith threw for 284 yards. So he's actually averaging 323 yards passing per game. He averages only 212 overall this season, so it shows you how much an outlier it is with Bowers. I think with Bowers in there, they can keep this game close. Give me the +9 and give me over on the Geno Smith passing yards.
I like that call.
Jamie, talk to me first. I want to hear. I'm being a homer like you, Jamie. Normally I hate my team, but I'm taking advantage from you, and I'm just loving my team so much. What do you think of this pick?
I like it. Yeah. So I'll transition to my best bet too, which is player prop. We hit on that Derrick Henry ladder last week in the over 19.5 longest rush. So give me Brock Bowers over 1.5 half, or I'm sorry, 1.5. I wish it was 1.5, 5.5 receptions. Even though it's a little juice right now, like minus 155, I honestly still like this. I think this is like closer to like 65%, 70%. And it's still going to be around 60% of the over 5.5. But I mean, everything that you said, Bowers looked good again. That time off really helped. He's still the best tight end in football. Gino looked much better targeting him. You lose Jacoby. I think we're going to see a lot of Brock Bowers here. So I like that over 5.5. And I like your bet about the Raiders spread here too.
All right. But if you guys missed it, because it was breaking up a little bit, his best bet for this game was Brock Bowers over 5.5 receptions. Tyler, your thoughts on me being a homer? I'm waiting for you to pick the Steelers now.
No, I kind of like your play. I mean, I don't think Denver's offense is all that potent. Well, could they put up points against the Raiders? Yeah, but just like you said, divisional game, this is probably going to play closer. 9.5 seems like way too many. So I think I'm going to ride with you. I think I'm going to take some Geno here. We could be walking into the slaughterhouse, though. Like, this could be one of the ones where it's like, wow.
Well, whenever you take 9 points, it's always like that. It always feels like it's like.
But with Geno Smith, it's always scary.
Yeah. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, Tyler, you gave me an over. Give me your under.
I'll give you the total before I give you the side. So the under, we're going to go in the Rams 49ers game. Give me under 50.5. I just think the 49ers are a shell of what they were even when they played the Rams a few weeks ago. That offense isn't going to look the same. I don't think they'll be able to score the points against the Rams again. And the Rams defense is going to be better in this matchup also. They didn't even get to this 50.5 in their last matchup. So I like this spot. I think the Rams put it on them and their defense is able to keep this close. So give me the under there.
Market agrees with you. Down to 49 offshore. I just bought it up though. I could buy it pretty easily. I got it to minus 128, under 50.5 there for the Rams and Niners. Tyler, I had problems breaking down the side on this game. It's just, if it was a non-division game, I think the 49ers, obviously they look good against the Rams, but dude, at one point is McCaffrey going to break? I mean, they're giving it to him on like almost every single play. It's just crazy how I almost feel like they're sacrificing like next season for him because
next season spread. You haven't realized what they're doing? What? Every week they sacrifice a new player to keep them healthy.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to go get a.
They're going to run out of bodies or
something. But the Rams here, I mean, I think this team is just so much better. But the 49ers usually play them tough. 3.5's a lot in division game. That's why I couldn't get there. If I had to bet it, I would lean towards the Rams, but you never laying 3.5 in division. Would you like me to go to the next prime time game that I'm betting? My picks are so obvious this week. You already know what I'm taking, right?
Yeah, taking the Steelers.
Of course. All right.
Are they an underdog in this game? Yeah, they are an underdog. They're a road dog, though, so.
Tell me your thoughts on this. I had some stuff on it, but I got to pull it up real quick.
To be completely honest, I just don't cap Steeler games anymore because in my head as a Steeler fan, in my head as a bettor, it's gonna tell me, oh, the Steelers should be the right side. They should be able to get pressure on Herbert. But my head as a Steeler fan knows that they normally don't do the right thing in the right spot. I wouldn't be surprised if Herbert gets a bunch of time. He will run the ball against us. He has done well against us in the past also. I don't like this spot, to be honest.
All right, and I'll tell you why I do like it. We talked earlier when we were talking about Sauce Gardner, right? And we talked about how these corners can look so much worse. And, I mean, let's be honest. That's the key to the Steelers' defense. Fitzpatrick's not back there anymore. That secondary is really not that good. So the key to the Steelers is the pass rush. And you know what? They're kind of like a good offensive team. You know how they'll run up the score and run up the stats against the bad teams? The Steelers do that in their same matchup because you would never believe some of these numbers that the Steelers have here. The Steelers are second in the league in pass rush win rate and third in total sacks. That doesn't seem right watching this team, right? But it's because they keep racking them up. Like, would they get 9 sacks last week? So it's almost like, the way that people get 49 points against the Bengals and stuff like that. But I almost know, I think this is a fade on the Chargers, right? So when Joe Alt is in the lineup for the full game, right? The Chargers are 4-0. They average 28 points per game. They have a pass block win rate of 52.6%, and they have a plus 0.31 EPA per pass play. That's third in the NFL if you just put that in there, right? Without Alt in the lineup, the Chargers are 2-3. They only average 20.8 points per game, and their pass block win rate drops to 48%. Their EPA per pass play drops to 0.1. Steelers are 2-1 as an underdog this year. ATS, the Chargers are 3-5 as the favorite on the year. Tyler, Tomlin's going to do it again. Just if I was, when I watch the Raiders schedule, I want them to have this easy schedule. If I were you, I would want the hardest schedule in the league. I never want to play the man as a favorite, but we're back to being an underdog. And like I said, I just think the loss of Alt is too much for them to overcome. They're not even sure who's going to start there. They're flipping between their backup left tackle and their swing tackle to who's going to go ahead and get in there. So, Jamie, I gave out a bunch of numbers, but they don't really matter that much for your breakdown. Tell me what you think of my play, dude. I'm going back to the well. Took the Steelers +3. You hear me, Jamie? I think we lost him again.
I don't know. He's not frozen. His eyes are moving.
I know, but I don't think he can hear us. So he missed my excellent breakdown right there. So okay, Tyler, we'll bring him back and we'll just have him go over those other ones. Also, gosh, total there is 45. I think that's an interesting total.
That does seem like an interesting total. I lean towards the over just because I honestly think that Herbert's gonna be able to move the ball and they're gonna score points. So that's my opinion on it.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that they read all their press clippings this week, but I like Tomlin's press conference where he pretty much just said we're still the same team that put up that sorry performance last week. So I appreciated that. Tyler, what's your
You
third?
think his press conferences with way too much weight? Like this dude's just a con artist on that podium spread. Like
he's
that's
not a con artist. He's a great NFL coach, but you guys don't understand.
He is legit.
You guys caught in the NBA rings culture, and you think that all that matters is rings. You don't care about.
He is legit.
Representing your community, putting together a good team that we can all be proud of as people who live in Pittsburgh.
Well, one, he doesn't represent the community, so we'll say that, but. He is legit when he gets up on the podium. Who he reminds me of is when George Bush was the president. Certain things just come out of his mouth where it's just like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like George Bush used to just tell him you need to get on that horse and ride it, and then they'll ask Tom a question, and he'll say something that doesn't even relate to football, and you'll be like, what?
It makes sense to me, Tyler, and I'll also have that Tomlin never proclaimed it was mission accomplished. Tyler, what's your third side of the day?
What was that?
Your third best bet for the day.
I'm going to go with, I think this is going to be the easiest one.
Here, I can listen to you. Oh, wait. Jamie's
other than the two totals, I think this is going to be the easiest one of the day. Give me the Browns -2.5 spread against the Jets. Don't care who's starting quarterback if it's Tyrod or Justin Fields. Breece Hall wants out, so I don't think he's going to be much of a factor here in the offense. Garrett Wilson's still hurt. Even if he does come back, this Browns defense is going to get pressure. Probably causes a couple turnovers. Quinnen Williams not being in the middle. Quishon Judkins is going to have a day against his defense. So -2.5 on the Browns. Taking the Browns.
You're not worried that this is kind of like that first Cowboys game where the defense played great because they got told all week how they wouldn't be good without their stars? I mean,
no. This is the Jets.
Could be. Yeah, that's true. That's right. That's like the ultimate trump card in every argument. Jamie, take 7. Can you hear us? Are you with us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We're back. We're rolling. Cool. Talk to me real quick, and I can hear you. I'm going to be right back, though. Talk to me about I took the Steelers over the Chargers, basically just saying with Joe Alt that they can't pass the ball very well. Your thoughts on the Sunday night game?
Yeah, it's going to be a pass for me, though. I slightly lean the Chargers here. I do know the Joe Alt thing hurts pretty bad, but I don't know. Pittsburgh's a weird team, right? Like last week was definitely Tyler was spot on that. That was the spot to hammer them on underdogs against Indianapolis. But Chargers at home. I mean, is it really a home game anyways? I don't know. I think the line's probably pretty accurate. So for me, it's probably just going to be a straight pass.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. It's just a pass block because, especially for me, because I can't back the Steelers and watch Herbert go out there and shred them. And then if I bet the Chargers, then defense will actually show up again. So
yeah,
that's my take on it. I just have to stay away from it.
Yep. And what other one did you take? I think I might have missed one of them.
I took
He gave out the under in the Rams and the Niners. Thoughts on that game?
The under, yeah. I could see that game. Tough divisional game there. That's an exciting game, man. That NFC West is pretty fun overall. And now with Jacoby getting to start a little bit more with the Cardinals, I think that's a fun division.
I feel like an old man more on that game because everything says the Rams. Everything says the Rams to me in that game, but it's just the divisional matchup, right? And how well these teams know each other that I feel like we throw some of that, like our power rankings and the stats that they produce against non-division teams out the window because it just seems like these teams know each other so well. But if you had to force me to, I would take the Rams. All right, Jamie, I've already given out 2 of my best bets. I took the Raiders and I took the Steelers. So I'm liking the prime time dogs. Give me a best bet.
You know what? Let's do what I do here. Give me the Packers -2.5 Monday Night Football. Like I said, the Packers I think are just a team that you want to back when it's an under a touchdown in a likely competitive game. And I think they're a team that you want to stay away from when they're touchdown favorites. They just play to their level of competition. I could see this as a nice bounce back spot for Green Bay. I've said it all year, I'm just not as high on the Eagles as I was last year. They are coming off a bye, which is a little bit of a concern. I still just don't think that Eagles team to me looks as great as maybe a lot of people think. They're definitely much worse than last year, in my opinion. And I'm not sure of some of the trades they made about how much impact it's going to have on just 1 week. That might, make them much better down the road. But as of right now for this week, I think Green Bay is actually a pretty good spot. So I like the 2.5. Is it still 2.5? Yeah, it's still 2.5. Looks like it's still 2.5. So I love that spot for Green Bay. Going to be playing at home. I think this is a good bounce back spot for Green Bay. And like I said, every game for them is just pretty close, right? Like almost regardless who it is, most games are just end up being pretty competitive. And like I said, there's a lot of these splits where Matt LaFleur, for some reason, becomes a little bit more aggressive against these tough teams. We've seen it all year. We've kind of seen it last year. That's just his MO. If these games are a tough game with a tough opponent, he's more likely to be a little bit more aggressive, lean on Love a little bit. The player prop is not out, but this is also a spot where I love the Jordan Love over 1.5 touchdowns. It's probably going to come out like -112, -115. This is another spot where I love that. I think he gets two touchdowns in here. I think they have to lean on him a little bit more in this game. I also think Jacobs could struggle a little bit running the football in this spot. So those are the 2 that I would like, and I'm staying on brand, of course, man. I had to go back to the Packers, man. I told you last week when you asked me Panthers or the Packers, and I told you, I said the Packers always play down to their competition. Whoever they play, if they play a bad team, they're going to play bad. If they play a good team, they're going to play good.
So another similarity between Tomlin and LaFleur. So here's an interesting stat for you. You know that neither team has been an underdog all season?
Yeah, I know.
So this is the first time that Philly's been an underdog this year. So far this year, they are 5-3 ATS, and they are 3-1 on the road. But you have to remember they have been favored. Although I do like the fact that they have been able to cover as road favorites. 3-5 for the Packers against the spread this year. However, it's because they can't cover those big spreads. When the spread was only -1 to -4, those are the 3 Packers covers. So 4.5 or more. Maybe I should wait and hit it live, but I felt like arguing with you. And here's going to be my argument for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I actually can't bring a lot of numbers into it because you're right. They haven't performed as well as they did last year. But I think this is what you kind of see from a Super Bowl winning team who understands, right? It's just almost like an NBA team that they're just waiting for the playoffs. I mean, they're waiting for their time to shine. They have had a little bit of controversy off the field, but they've been able to manage it well. And I think they're going to get back on track and get Saquon involved in this game. I'm also worried that I think that eventually the Packers will be able to overcome that Tucker Kraft loss. But week 1, the first week of losing that safety blanket, do you think it's going to be tough for Love? And it'll be incumbent on LaFleur, of course, to get some other guys involved and make them feel a little bit more comfortable. But when I'm looking at this game, right, this is one of the few times where I really think the Packers could have problems with their offensive line. Most of the times they do have an advantage there, but that Eagles defensive line could get them. At the same time, I do think the Eagles offensive line does have the chops, even though the statistics haven't showed it this year, but it's just we've seen it throughout these players' history that they can do that to go ahead and try and neutralize that pass rush. Let's see if they're able to figure out a way to stop Michael Parsons, because we've seen what happens if you only try and single cover him. But I'm giving the Eagles coaches credit that they will be able to do that. I just think that the more experienced team here, I think we should have the advantage in the trenches, and I'm getting 2.5 points. So that's why I'm on the Philadelphia Eagles. Tyler, break the tie.
Man, this is one I probably bet live, to be honest with you.
I think it's a great live betting game. I think you can get both teams plus money like we used to in the NBA.
I think I'm going to lean towards the Eagles. I just think that they'll be able to run the ball. After seeing what Rico Dowdle did and Saquon seemed to wake up this past week before the bye week, I think he can maybe have a big spot here, be able to run through this defense. If they get the run game going, it's just going to open up the play action for these other guys too, for A.J. Brown, for Dallas Goedert, for Devontae Smith. And they're adding new pieces to this defense. So let's see what those look like too. So it'll be a fun one.
And I think a defensive lineman's easier to add into the mix than say like a linebacker.
An edge rusher is the easiest thing to add to your team because 9 times out of 10 it's, hey buddy.
They don't need to know what the rest of the defense is doing.
Doesn't matter. Chase the quarterback.
Yeah. It's just either set the edge or go all out. So all right, this will be fun, Jamie. You did get me last week. We should have kept track for the year to date. But I got to try and bounce back.
That's all that matters. 1-0.
Yeah, I got to try and bounce back. You did get me last week. I bet against my guy Michael Penix. What am I doing? It's just when that great historic Hall of Fame draft class plays off with each other. Obviously, I can't think correctly. And we didn't mention it a little bit, but JJ McCarthy might be inching back into being a solid player out of that quarterback class as well. So. All right, so that was my third pick. Tyler's done all 3 of his. What else you got for us, Jamie?
Honestly, so those 3, because I would add, like I said, Love over 1.5. I'm assuming the line's like -112, -115, right? But that's obviously not out yet. So those would be my main 3. There is another one that I'm not 100% convinced on, but Commanders plus 9.5. To be interested to see what like Steve and Meg think maybe of that. But I think this is an interesting spot. Losing Daniels definitely sucks. But I don't think Mariota, we talked about this earlier in the year, is like a massive downgrade whatsoever. I think this is kind of a sneaky spot. This is also kind of fits the narrative I talked about last week that, fit with the Panthers and a lot of these other underdogs. Coming off a blowout game, underdogs following week. The Lions offense have not been very good at all the past several weeks. They rank like in the bottom 6 or 7 in like EPA and DVOA offensively. They have not looked very good. Are still a good team overall, but 9.5 just feels like a lot to me. And that's over, I think, BetMGM. Mostly everywhere is 8.5, but I can see.
I got 9.5 offshore at Bookmaker too. So that's
okay, there you go. And maybe this
definitely available.
Maybe this gets to 10. I'm not sure, but I think this is a spot where I like to bounce Washington on a kind of a bounce back. I think a lot of people are going to be a little down on them, specifically after losing Daniels. But like I said, I like Mariota as a quarterback. I don't think he is like a massive drop off by any means. There's definitely much worse in the NFL than going to Marcus Mariota, who fits a similar type of archetype, right, that Jaden Daniels is. So I think he can kind of come in here, and he's played multiple times already this season and last year. So I like the Commander side here. I think 9.5 is a little too much. Would love for it to get up to the 10, but I'm not sure if it does.
I would be patient. I think it will. Steve's against us, though. He says, I think the Lions could come in and blow out the Commanders. Washington's defense is awful, and I think the Lions use this as a get-right game. These are still all professional athletes, and I think they are going to be fired up, like you said, coming off that loss. And the other thing is we're fading a team outdoors, a dome team outdoors. That's another thing I look. And we're not saying, hey, Detroit's going to lose, right? Well, I mean, I'm telling you, Jamie, I'm not taking the plus 368 on the money line. But, yeah, if I were to choose a side there, I would take the Commanders. Do you have any other picks? And otherwise, I want to talk about some of the other top games on the slate.
No, I will just add a couple of them. I always like to just throw these out for the people that kind of fit that narrative that we always talk about, the betting on an underdog after getting blown out. But I think that this, if you want to bet on the Saints, the Saints fit that category. Granted, they fit that category almost every single week, but they do fit that category. It's kind of a classic, Saints get blown out. The Panthers coming off of a massive win. It might be a sneaky spot.
The win that most people talked about, right? It's so funny because if the Packers pull that game out, wouldn't we be talking about Minnesota's win? as the top story today. I mean, I would have given you a little crap for not covering, but that would have became the top story, but it kind of overshadowed it. But yeah, Minnesota put together a good performance as well. So definitely the classic buy low, sell high spot. What do you think? I think the Saints are going to continue to make money. I see it right now at +6 minus 118 offshore. I think a lot of people are going to be thinking like us. I wouldn't be surprised to see that get bet down a little bit.
And to be honest with you, like I said, I know it fits that trend, but I just don't have really much interest in backing the Saints. They could just really suck, right? So they just lost Rashid Shaheed as well. But it does feel like kind of a decent bounce back spot, but also another team that fits that, Miami, +9.5. I actually see a +10 against Buffalo. Again, not a fun spot, but it is someone that does fit that trend of getting blown out the week before and underdogs the following week. And it is a divisional game. Maybe it stays, maybe Buffalo wins by 7 or 8. They cover that +10. But I just wanted to give those out too for the people if they do like it, because that is a pretty good hit rate. I think it's like 60% or something like that. So it's something that if you take, almost every single bet long term, you probably.
I almost think that we play that rule and we just throw Miami out, because a lot of the reasons we're doing this is pride, right? I just wonder how much that locker room's broken.
They're I mean, even it's so weird too, because I know they got blown out, but that first half, like they very easily could have been like leading that game or in that game with Baltimore last week. Like multiple good drives offensively. They just got killed in the red zone, fumbles, or just like stupid penalties. But also, like, that is just the Dolphins. That's part of the game. It's part of, a non-disciplined team. So I agree.
And I can look it up, but I think Buffalo's record is pretty bad down there too.
Yeah. It's a classic divisional game.
It is. I know it is. Yeah.
Plus 10 points at home. So I don't know.
Tyler, any thoughts on those two big dogs? I don't think you're going to be interested.
No, I got no real interest in either of those.
Okay. Let's talk about the Sunday morning game, Tyler. I get to get up early, have some coffee, watch some NFL, throw out the results in our models, right, Jamie?
I didn't even know there was a Sunday morning game. Wow.
Yeah, this is the tough one, man, because I feel like because this happened to me last week, I don't want to do it again, but it's the Indianapolis Colts lane 6 against the Atlanta Falcons, right? It just feels like last week all over again, even though it's not the home field, right? Falcons with a great chance to backdoor cover. Am I underestimating this team? Colts, of course, coming off the win. Or wait, no, Colts are coming off a loss as well. So that actually should make them a little more motivated. They seem like they're the much better team, and favorites do good in these overseas games. Just I feel like they priced it right. I thought this line was going to be 3.5 or 4. Seems like a lot. I lean towards the Colts, though. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy spread. It's right back to the same breakdown I've given you on the Colts the rest of the year. There's a can in front of them, and they're going to crush it. They're going to get right back to covering the numbers. All that magic that showed up in Heinz Field / Acrisure Stadium last week, that was just the Steelers' luck and what happens when that spot occurs. It happens every year when one of these teams rolls into Pittsburgh. They're the best team in the conference at the time, and then they take a loss. They're going to snap right back to what they were, and they're going to beat up on this Atlanta team.
All right. Thanks for pushing me in that direction, because it just feels like if I didn't bet that game last week, I think I would be more and felt like that I had a pretty good pick. I mean, 24-14, I was feeling pretty good.
Yeah, and you're a Penix guy, so I know you don't want to fade your boy.
I know. It's tough, man, especially not against Daniel Jones. Jamie, your thoughts here as the Colts take on the Falcons overseas?
Yeah, I would lean with the Colts. I mean, I would like to bet some Jonathan Taylor stuff, to be honest. It's kind of hard because all of his stuff is so high. Like his anytime touchdowns like -330, which is just insane. Yeah. And like his 2 touchdowns.
His rushing props like 99.5.
Dude, and his 2 touchdowns like +165. It's just wild. But like honestly, he probably scores 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think like 50% of the games this year he scored like 3 touchdowns. So I don't hate that. It does feel like a pretty good bounce back spot for him. Overseas, I could see them just kind of pounding the rock here. I was trying to look. I do have some props up for that, but I would like his longest over rush attempt. Honestly, I don't care what it is. That could be like 45.5, and I would probably still bet it. I could just see him absolutely smoking the Falcons here. So I think they get back on track. I think they lean into Jonathan Taylor here overseas for sure.
All right. Again, I want to talk to you guys about that. I keep going back and forth on the Texans and the Jaguars. Remember, I was so high on the Texans earlier this season, and I have been a little discouraged by their effort. But one thing that's been consistent with this team is the defense. Jacksonville is another team I don't really know what to make of. I mean, some weeks they look really good. They're solid. They're fundamental. They tackle well. They have team speed on defense. And then other times they look absolutely lost here. It's a division game, plus 1.5. Almost feels like pick the winner. My original lean is towards the Texans, but I just feel like I am underestimating the Jaguars because they just went life and death with the Raiders and not thinking about how good this team could be when they're at their best. Plus, they'll have Jacoby Myers in the lineup, although I don't know how much he's going to do the very first week. Tyler, start with you. Would you take the Texans or the Jaguars if you were forced to bet this game?
Gotta wait for CJ News. Can't do anything right now on a Tuesday.
Let's just assume he's not playing because this line says he's not.
Lean towards the Jags, but probably stay away from it because Houston's defense has been so good. This divisional game, it's going to get ugly. Just rather not bet this one.
Total 37.5. So, yeah, they do expect a defensive battle. Jamie, your thoughts there, man? I think this is a tough game. I think I can make good arguments on both sides.
It's another game I would like the under, but I think it's already moved. I think it was like a 39, so kind of missed the boat a little bit.
37.5 right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it, but it definitely feels like a lower scoring game. I guess I would lean the Jaguars, but I have no interest in betting either one of these sides, man. The Jaguars are such an up and down team, and it kind of feels like to me if they're not a team defensively that's taking the ball away, I think they kind of struggle a bit. Their defense is just so heavily reliant on
defenses in the new NFL, though.
Yeah, but I mean, this team is like towards the top of the league in like EPA based off of turnovers, which almost generally always regresses kind of back to the mean, which is kind of what we've kind of seen lately with them. At the beginning of the year, they got a little lucky on some of those. So I just don't really have much interest in backing either one of these teams, to be honest. Brian Thomas Jr. probably going to be out 3 to 4 weeks, which I don't know if that even really hurts them or not. But Jacoby's coming. Who knows how much he plays? It's just a stay away for me.
All right, I want to ask you some more questions. We didn't really talk about it because we had to razz each other a little bit. But the Chicago Bears pull off the miracle upset. First of all, they shouldn't have been in that position to begin with. That was wild that Cincinnati even made it that close. But then, I mean, they showed the picture. They said, if you can believe this guy scored a touchdown on this play with 3 defenders all around him. Regardless, I don't know what to make of the Bears. They're laying 4 here. The New York Giants aren't a very good team. However, that seems like a lot for the Chicago Bears. I mean, arguably the worst 5-3 team in the league. I mean, I'm not really that impressed with this team, but as Tyler said before, beating cans, and that's what the Bears have done. They managed to get wins against these bad teams, although they're closer than they should be. Technically, they did cover the spread against Cincinnati, however, but I just remember them not covering against us in the win over Las Vegas. Chicago Bears -4. Tyler, what do you think, man? Is Dart going to make his resurgence this week, or is this going to be more of the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams show?
I'd probably lean towards Chicago here, but probably stay away. I don't trust Chicago's defense. They probably lead this entire game and end up winning the game by 3, and you get hooked. So I'm not going to run to bet the Giants either. So
team to lay points with, right? Yeah. Jamie, the Jackson Dart Whisperer, he's been playing well, but every week he's got less and less to work with here. Oh, one thing I want to throw out there, too, and you can talk about this, too. I don't think they should fire Dable. I think it's malpractice to these young quarterbacks. I don't care what they – I don't care if they lose the rest of the year. I want to see him in the same system because, you know what, I have no problems being wrong, and I'm happy that I was wrong about him. This game's – if he sucked, I mean, I think it's because of him. This is an interesting game. Mm-hmm. If they had Jameis or Russ out there, like, will we care about this game at all? I think it's kind of interesting now. Anyways, Bears -4. Tyler says they win by 3. I almost wonder if it could be one of those ones where it's the easiest bet on the board too. And the New York Giants can't stop the run. And that guy, what's his name? Mana guy goes nuts. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, that guy looked pretty good this week.
Good.
Just give me the team with the better quarterback, Jackson Dart.
Oh, nice, it.
Look, I gave the people, I've had a lot of bad ones. I gave out also, well, technically Tyler gave it out last week. I just bounced off him. The Jordan Love one. So I'll let Tyler take the Jordan
Dude, that's
Love.
Not dead.
It's not dead.
That's dead.
It's not dead.
It's not. Early. It's really not. If they rack off 7 wins in a row, he's fine.
2 to 3 weeks. If he has, 6 touchdowns in the next 3 weeks, it's not dead. It does not as great as we kind of were hoping it would be right now, for sure. But
And Stafford, though, Tyler.
But the Jackson Dart offensive rookie of the year does look good as of right now. We got that plus 800, minus 115 right now. He's just a better
If Chip
quarterback.
Kelly realized who was on his team, it wouldn't be live. But
it's
true. The guy 11 carries a game, unbelievable.
But no, you're right. I agree. I think Brian Daboll definitely earned a spot to come back next year to see what he can do with a healthy Neighbors, a Scatabo, Abdul Carter in the second year. Probably going to get another
quarterback development. They screw these guys so much. If you're not willing, if you draft a guy number 1 overall, or you do, put all your chips in the guy, you better start him with the coach that you think can go 2-3 years. Yeah, the last 4 picks had their coaches fired, right? And they're on their second coordinator now. With Caleb, obviously, it was a huge upgrade. But can you imagine if they would have been able to pull something off that like that? How we might think of him if he had Johnson to start his career,
right?
All right,
100%.
I can't get involved. I think I'm going to root for the Bears here and root for the -4. I'd like to see the Bears be good. I couldn't get involved. You know which one I hate to do it because I like the Seahawks. They're like my little mini team that I like to root for in the NFC. And I'm loving this resurgence here. I'm loving that I get to victory lap these Sam Darnold takes. But I think 6.5 is too much, man. I think this offense looks pretty good under Brissett. He understands how to throw the ball on a timing route. So now all of a sudden Marvin Harrison's effective. He just had his career high in receptions. I expect that to continue. They've named Brissett the starter. I'll bet you a lot of these players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, are excited, dude. I know that Kyler's probably like a cool guy to hang out with, but you ever have that guy that you want to hang out with that you don't really want to work with? That you're like, bro, I love when he comes over on Saturday night, but on Monday morning, dude, I hate showing up to work with him. I wonder if Kyler's like that. I didn't bet it, but I think 6.5 is too much. Tyler, what do you think, man? Do you think the Cardinals can keep this close, or was that a mirage last night actually against the Dallas Cowboys?
I would lean towards taking Seattle here. I mean, Dallas' defense is so bad that they could let anyone put up yards and points on them. I think Seattle's a little bit better, and it might be a comeback to earth spot for Arizona. So I'd lean towards Seattle covering by a touchdown.
Okay, so you like Seattle there. I was leaning towards Arizona. Jamie, break the tie. If you were to bet this game, the proverbial $100 that I get you and force you to bet this game, which side would you take?
The under 45.5.
There we go. Okay.
I mean, probably Seattle. I mean, probably Arizona. Just take the points. But I think it's going to be lower scoring. But I do like the under here. This is almost one of the best bets as well. I just think it is a tough divisional game. Seattle coming off a monster performance. I do think both of these defenses are kind of sneaky good. Arizona was kind of one of those teams I was talking about on the opposite end of like Jacksonville, as far as like pretty unlucky with some of these turnovers and kind of bounces that kind of went their way last time. So I could just see this being a lower scoring game. I like the under 45.5. If I had to choose a side, it would probably be the Cardinals, but I really don't have much interest in that. But you were right. I'll give you credit. Outside of your Kenneth Walker best ball talk stuff that you were on, you were pretty on with Sam Darnold and the Seahawks, and so I will give love there. This team looks good. They look fun. Darnold looks good.
Do they have an EPA for running backs? Because I think that Walker's like been effective when he gets the ball. I just think they're afraid to use him.
He has been good. They just have no interest in giving him the full workload. Anytime
I think it's smart. I think they realize we can make the playoffs without him, but we're going to need to give him 20 carries in the playoffs. And if 100%. He goes out, then whatever.
It's not changing. This is the way Clint Kubiak wants to run the offense. It's been working. But if you're a Kenneth Walker owner, there's no doubt you're frustrated. Every time he gets down to like the 1 yard line, Kenneth Walker, off you go. Sharps, in you go. And then a little Sharps touchdown action. So, yeah. But it was a good call by you. I'd lean Arizona in this game, though.
All right. That's it for our slate. Tyler, final thoughts about everything we saw. Is there anything I left out that we wanted to talk about, that we wanted to overreact to? Any other hot takes you have on the trade deadline?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I think we touched on everything. No more real hot takes. I mean, the only like quote unquote hot take I would have is I think that race for offensive rookie of the year is a little more open than it looks right now with the odds, just because Dart's losing weapons. If he even happens to get banged up a little bit, you got to think there's a thought that they runs through their head of, let's just shut him down before he ends up with the rest of the guys. Mm-hmm. So that would worry me there. Like, Ibuka was having one hell of a season, and he was looking like he was going to go to minus 250, pulls his hammy, gets a bye week, and now he's plus 170. That's not a bad spot either. Mike Evans isn't coming back. Tyler Warren 10-1, and Judkins 20-1 are the ones that stand out to me.
Oh, I skipped that game. That was Bucks Patriots. Bucks minus 2.5.
To be honest with you, I'm gonna let that one play out, and I ain't touching it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's probably why I skipped it. I didn't have a lot of takes, but since we got a couple more minutes,
It's gonna be one of the better games to watch. I'll tell you that. But betting
I'm
wise,
still in on the Patriots. I kind of want to take them, but I feel like I'm walking into a trap with them going down.
Yeah,
to
it's one of those spots where it's like, how real are the Patriots actually in this run? And let's see what Tampa looks like out of the bye. So this is gonna be a good game, probably the best game to watch on Sunday.
You think that's the best on Sunday? Fair enough. All right, Jamie. Any thoughts there on Patriots Buccaneers?
No, I'm with you guys. I would lean New England here. Just I like Drake May a lot, but I also do like Egbuka, so I don't hate that call. I think it's pretty much Jackson Dart or Emeka Egbuka. I don't think Tyler Warren wins it. I just don't think it. I would like to. I don't know the date off this, but how many times is like a team had like multiple winners like in these type of awards? Because Jonathan Taylor is going to win Offensive Player of the Year. Are they going to give it to also like Tyler Warren of Rookie of the Year? I mean, maybe. And again, I'm not.
The Jets got off.
If they were in first place in the AFC, they could. If they finish with home field advantage through the playoffs.
Yeah, and Tyler's right. I did forget about that. I was on the top of my head where it just feels uncommon, but it might not be.
It does feel uncommon, but it seems like those awards kind of they don't take away from each other. Like Jonathan Taylor can still have the nuclear season he's looking like he's gonna have.
Yeah.
And Warren can still put up stats where you go, that's the best rookie out of the class.
No, you're right. I may be thinking more of like, MVP and like Defensive Player of the Year, maybe type things, or who knows? I could just be making no sense, to be honest with you. Like I said, I'm not.
It's so frustrating to me because the more I watch Genty, the more I realize I was wrong about that draft. And he's head and shoulders above every other rookie, just as far as talent and ability. And they're just not giving him any opportunities to showcase it.
Yeah.
And he seems like one of those guys that needs the carries to get going. I mean, we talked about limiting Kenneth Walker. Genty's the other way. Genty seems like he gets better as the game goes on. And a lot of these bigger running backs are like contact too. So it's so disappointing for me as a fan. And boy, I'm not usually one to fire people, but if they fired Chip Kelly, I'd be pretty happy.
You just need that whole retirement home out of the coaching staff. That's what you guys need.
Yeah,
you want to talk about my system being outdated in Pittsburgh? I mean, Pete Carroll's ancient.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly's offense worked in the early 2000s. It's time for change.
Do you think Carroll will get fired after the year?
Yeah, they'll let him go. I bet you they don't fire him. I bet you it's one of those things where they come to an agreement and he walks away. But in the end, they told him, like, yeah, you leave or we fire you.
All right. Chat, go on Seattle here. Both Mike Robb and Steve like Seattle to cover the spread there. All right, Jamie, I was having some fun with you at the beginning of the show, so we'll give you the last word here on the Fanspeak Week 10 NFL betting card.
Yeah, it was a fun one. Glad we can come in, chop it up. Sorry about the internet connection. I'll do better next time. Got to regroup, come back better and stronger. But go bet the Packers -2.5. It's going to get up to 3, and you're going to miss out.